Hi there and welcome to Influence, a program about the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. I'm your host, Jessica Graves. I'm excited today to have two dietetic interns with us from the Department of Food Science, Nutrition, and Health Promotion. Ladies, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell me where you're from, what your academic history is.
My name is Aaliyah Hooks and I'm from Shannon, Mississippi. I completed my undergrad at the University of Mississippi in 2020.
I'm Piper Ertz. I'm from Grapevine, Texas. I did my undergrad at the University of Arkansas in human nutrition and dietetics.
All right, so I guess the first question would be really about what got you interested in the human nutrition field. Aaliyah, why don't you tell me a little bit about what got you started?
So I am a foodie. I love to try new recipes, new foods in restaurants, and I also wanted to work in the field of medicine. So I kind of just put both of those together, studied nutrition, and I fell in love with it. So I'm here now in the internship.
That's awesome. Piper, and I understand that you have kind of a deep passion as well, maybe started through childhood about human nutrition. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I come from a really athletic family. I wanted to do something in sports, wanted to be involved in college athletics for a long time, and I was actually diagnosed with celiac disease when I was 14. So nutrition's always kind of been a part of what I do. It just made sense.
Yeah, and it's so amazing sometimes how those personal experiences, those lived experiences that we all have really kind of help shape what our future looks like, and you guys are really kind of demonstrating that at this point through your academic paths as well. So what about this internship? So you guys are both dietetic interns, and there's a very formalized process as a dietetic intern. But Aaliyah, tell me something that has been really meaningful. What have you done through your internship thus far that has really kind of stood out to you and been a meaningful experience?
So I've completed 3 rotations so far in the internship, and the most meaningful one has been sports nutrition. Working with the teams here on campus has been great, just because you know that you play a part in their games, in their nutrition. Everything that they do falls back on their performance, and that comes from us as nutritionists.
So we have a home football game this weekend, and we are confident that because of the nutrition that our guys have had, we're going to pull one out for a win, yes?
Oh, yes.
All right. Piper, tell me about that meaningful experience. So you have gone through several rotations so far through your dietetic internship as well. So what about that meaningful experience? What's kind of stood out to you thus far?
So in my undergrad, I got to work in sports at Arkansas, and I'm doing a little bit of that here, but I've got to do clinical and community, and I got to do community at the Mississippi Band of Choctaw, and that was something I didn't expect to be as fun as it was.
Yeah.
It was really nice to see people that come from a different walk of life than I do, and just kind of gave me a whole new respect for everything that we can do in dietetics.
Yeah. And this may be what we would call the $1 million question, but what do you think you want to do next? I know you still got several months to go through your internship, but what do you think you might want to do next, and what's kind of helped you make some of those decisions?
So I'm not completely decided, but as of now, I think I want to work in clinical nutrition, emphasizing in diabetes management and obesity. My mom has a weight loss clinic, a diabetes clinic,
awesome.
A weight loss and diabetes clinic, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I would love to work with her. After she diagnoses and helps a patient, she could send them to me, and I could work on meal plans, help get their weight down, and things of that nature. So I think family plays a big role in what you choose to do.
Yeah.
For a
that would be a
career.
pretty cool story too, to have this mom-daughter duo for a story on nutrition. Yeah.
Yes.
Piper, what about you? The $1 million question, kind of what you want to do next?
So my comfort zone is sports.
Sure.
It's kind of part of everything I do, but I don't know. I have a really open mind. I'm going into each rotation trying to figure out, because all I've really ever done is sports. I'm liking clinicals. I'm liking everything.
Yeah.
So that's really intimidating, but I'd like to stay in the South, and, you know, Southern sports are a whole different breed, so hopefully that.
Yeah. So what about some of the soft skills? So you guys were at different institutions for your bachelor's degree, but even here at Mississippi State, we really talk and try to train our students in some of those soft skills needed, right? Communication, time management, just interpersonal skills. So talk a little bit about maybe how you've seen your undergraduate career and kind of your training kind of come to fruition, and some of these experiences you've had dealing with different clients and patients perhaps. What are some of those soft skills that you've had to kind of call on in the last few months through your internship?
The communication skills are really big. So when speaking with an individual, it's always good to be sympathetic and always try to understand why. And then after that, kind of, base your questions around that. It's just very important that you have great communication skills because you're talking to the public and you want to reach them. You want to make a difference.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of it comes down to time management and having like an initiative, which kind of goes along with confidence. You have to be confident in what you're doing. You have to love what you're doing, which I think is a huge thing. My mom always says, like, college is finding out what you don't want to do. So once you figure out what you do want to do, being confident in it and your skill set. I mean, I have to remember and remind myself all the time that I do have a degree in what I'm doing and that I do know what I'm talking about. So, but with time management, it's a lot of like, just knowing where you're going, what the goal is, and backtracking from there.
So what about, let's talk a little bit about some of those day-to-day routines. So we're going to maybe have prospective students, prospective dietetic interns coming into this program. Why don't you share a little bit of information about what your day-to-day looks like? I mean, you're going through some different rotations, and so there's obviously going to be some differences there. But what does a day-to-day life look like for a dietetic intern here at Mississippi State?
So with the rotation that I'm in now is sports. It's not very time constrained. You kind of just go with the flow.
That's always
good.
So
you have a time to be there, and then the rest of the day is just as you go. We do counseling. We help out at the fueling station where we feed and fuel our athletes. And we also attend practices and weightlifting just to be there as a support.
Cool. That's really nice. What about you, Piper?
I've had more structured days just because being in a hospital or being in a community setting, you have your goals set out of what you're going to do each day. In clinical, it is a lot of the same things. We do rotate Monday through Thursday and then classes on Friday. So kind of a half day on Friday, but it's a lot of work, but it's a lot that you can see pay off. It's definitely worth it. You get to, not so much in your undergrad, see all your work immediately pay off. That definitely changes when you go into your internship. You get to see everything that you do and everything you say and like its value.
That's a really good point, because sometimes I think we are often like a results driven, like production driven kind of society, and so I think there's probably some reward to exactly what you're talking about, being able to see the fruits of your labor, if you will, for the effort that you've put in. Well, let's transition. We're coming into the holiday seasons, and food safety and healthy eating is probably something that many people are trying to go for, perhaps. So let's talk first about what are some tips that you can give our viewers about how to make a healthy plate, maybe how to prepare some healthy foods. What tips do you have as a nutritionist?
So my favorite word is moderation. You can eat what you like, just eat it in moderation.
Okay.
So with your plates, make sure that you have appropriate portion sizes. Even though you may really like mom's or grandma's macaroni and cheese, just try to do 1 scoop instead of 3. Also, you want to add color to your plate. So just make sure you're getting vegetables and fruits as side dishes as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm really big on the adding part. my philosophy kind of is we're going to add, we're not going to take away, because when you add more things to balance out what you're eating, you don't have to take away the things you love. So taking those recipes that you've had in your family for years and maybe adding an extra vegetable or trying to slide something in there that might not alter the flavor a bunch, but it makes it have a little bit of vegetables or fruit or something to make it a little bit healthier.
Yeah. All right, ladies, we have only a few more minutes left. So let's talk about another very important piece of what we do around the holiday season, and that is food safety. Piper, I want to ask you to start first and talk about food safety and how we prepare some of those foods moving forward.
So a big thing in my house is timing. Timing is everything. You want everything to be done at the same time, but you also want to avoid overcooking or undercooking your foods, because the holidays are not the time to do that.
Sure.
So creating kind of a schedule and looking at how long everything needs to be cooked, so everything's roughly finished at the same time, and we have a system going. That's going to ensure that you know how long everything needs to go for, and we're all good.
Yeah, perfect. And then Aaliyah, maybe on the after we've had a lunch meal perhaps, what are some of those food safety tips that you have as we think about putting away and storage of those foods?
So after Thanksgiving, there's always a surplus of leftovers. So the biggest thing that you would want to do for food safety is to cool your food safely. There's a two-step process in that. You'll cool your food from 140 degrees to 70 within 2 hours. After that time period, you'll cool it in the refrigerator down to 41 degrees and lower within 4 hours. Okay. Doing that ensures safety and that you can enjoy the leftovers the following days without any adverse effects.
Of course, we have to have leftovers, right? Okay, so one final question. This is always a fun question, but we talk about the Bulldog family a lot here around Mississippi State's campus. So tell us, how have you been embraced in the Bulldog family during your time here as a dietetic intern? Go for it, Aaliyah.
So, like I said before, I completed my undergrad at the University of Mississippi. With me coming from there, this school has still welcomed me with open arms. I feel very at home here, and I appreciate that so much, just because there is a little tension around this time of year with the Egg Bowl, but I am enjoying my time here.
Awesome. What about you?
I'd say the same thing. I'd never been to Mississippi before coming here. I mean, I went to Arkansas, but that's about anywhere else I got out of from Texas. So it's everyone here is so nice, and that's like, it's a whole new community environment. I haven't had a single person not be nice to me, so it just feels like home. It feels like family. It's a great place.
That's awesome. All right, always good to hear. Thank you so much for being with us today, and that's going to wrap up our time with Influence. We'll see you next time.